We'll get started shortly, Salakia. I was going to go ahead and get started. All right. Israel, with the ISUPK, started out on 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem. And let me start off first by saying that we're not affiliated with no other Christian church, court system, prison system, government, you know what I'm saying? No biker gang, no other type of movement, man. We stand alone. All right. And so, in typical UPK fashion, every night we have mighty priests and prophets bringing out the truth according to the Bible. Not thus saith me, not thus saith John Doe or Jane Doe, not thus saith your Christian pastor who is a liar and a thief, but thus saith the Lord, man. According to this King James Version Bible, man, where all scripture is given by the inspiration of the Most High. All right. So, Salakia, give me 2 seconds. Salakia. All right, so in typical UPK fashion, all across the globe, man, the so-called Blacks, Hispanic, Native American, Indian brothers in this truth are bringing out the facts, according to the Bible. These laws, statutes, and commandments, and these laws, statutes, and commandments were put in place to keep us safe. So you think about a world where there is no law, anything goes. And that's what the Christian church teaches. They teach you how not to have self-discipline, how not to follow instructions or rules, how to be imperfect. But thanks to Commander Junior Hunter up on this ISUPK banner, we learn self-discipline, you know, how to serve the Lord, not ourselves. General Muhammad once said that, you can get happiness from 2 places, being selfish or selfless. When you're selfish, you learn from the Christian church how to just think about yourself, man. And whenever you don't get your way, you know what you do? You throw a tantrum. And that's when the trauma begins, because someone didn't show up for your birthday, because someone didn't get you nothing for Christmas, because X, Y, Z, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter, you know. And when it comes to being selfless, you'll be able to do what Christ did, man, and show extreme brotherhood, knowing that your brother next to you may not be clean. You're going to make sure he's clean anyway. And that's what we learn in the I should be careful to Commander Junior Hunter. You understand? How to be a brother, how to be a sister, how to fight your own demons so that those demons don't kill you. And if they can't kill you, they're going to bring you great shame. They don't bring you great shame, they're going to bring you depression. They don't give you depression, they're going to give you fear and doubt. and insecurities. That's the demon's whole purpose, is to destroy you utterly or sorely. You understand? And that can take years. That can take years. So I don't care about you being on demon time. Understand this, man. What you sow, you shall reap. And if you think that you're friends with your demons and you believe everything that you're taught in the Christian church, you have a rude awakening, man. And you better hope in that day of the Lord's fierce anger, you will be hidden. But I'll tell you right now, if you're not doing what thus saith the Lord according to this Bible, according to the mighty men in the ISUPK, up under General Yohana, on down, man, you're making a grave mistake. All right. So tonight's class, we're going to talk about self-discipline. So what better way to get a definition than to get it from the Merriam-Webster's Mediterranean Dictionary, man? And so the word self-discipline, right?
Self-discipline.
A noun. Correction or regulation of oneself for the sake of improvement. All right. So you got to understand this. Like any good father, right? Like any good teacher, like any good instructor, okay? There's a way that seems right to you. And because of how you feel, right? You think that that way is the right way. I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to riding motorcycles, for brothers and sisters that know about them, it might feel right when you lean into that curve to put your leg down, but that's one of the worst things you can do. I mean, you might get away with it on a dirt bike. On a motorcycle, it's going to pull your leg and pull you right off that dang on bike. According to, what I'm saying, science at least, that's one of the worst things you can do. You have to follow instructions. All right. Following instructions doesn't mean that you're going to trust those feelings that you have that tell you to smoke this or burn that, that tell you to, say how you feel because you're just itching to get it out of you. Those are demons, man. And those demons will get you killed or make you feel some type of suffrage because of your inability to have what they call, or what is called, self-discipline. All right. So I got a Webster's. Let's see what Oxford has to say. All right. Self-discipline, the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. See, our Father knows us more than we know ourselves. Understand that. And it is written that Christ was tempted in every way. So, what I just read is heavy because self-discipline is the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses. And that's what we're taught here in the ISUPK up under Commander Junior Hunter, man. How to overcome our weaknesses. You understand? The ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite temptation to abandon it. Like, we abandoned the oracles of Christ. We didn't do what our Father, told us to do, our power, because of what we thought was right. We served other nations. We made strange marriages with heathens, and we suffer because of that. We die every day because we think that some rock or some crystal is going to give us the life that the Lord promised us if we obeyed him. Understand that if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian, there's a difference between the two manner of people in which God separated us from birth. Jacob and Esau, right? He had a vessel for honor and a vessel for dishonor. And so when it comes to the so-called Blacks, Hispanic, and Native American Indians, if you don't do what your power says do, you're dishonoring him. You'll sit here and blow a brother or sister's phone up over $20 or a food stamp card. Like, yeah. Just throw me 20 and you can spend 40. I even give you $50. You in the store, and every time they, make a purchase, you wondering where they at and what they doing. If they're gonna go over that number that you gave them. Well, what you think the Most High feels like when he gave us a specific understand set of rules and regulations that are going to keep us safe. Meanwhile, you handling a brother and sister over $20 and $40 to $50 worth of food stamps. How do you feel when they go over? At 51, you ready to look, just bring my car back. Like, it's because we're destroyed as a people by design. The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. Who would only give someone enough to feed one person, knowing that there's multiple people that need to eat and watch us? You understand? They watch us. They take notes. They study our movements and our behaviors, not to help us, but to get rid of us. To get rid of us. And you think that you have some knowledge because your head is big, it's been big and shaped like a question mark since birth. You don't know nothing. You understand? Just because she has a big old butt and everything that you want to see, you still don't know, and she don't know anything either. Because if she did, what they know would save our people and not continuously get us destroyed because of that lack of knowledge, man. Understand that if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian, and you're tuning in tonight, there's one thing that you must do, and that's find your nearest camp leader. You understand? Your nearest priest and prophet in the ISUPK up under commanding General Yohana, and do what? Make that phone call, man. Make your call and election sure, man. Understand that. Choose ye this day who you're going to serve. Because if the Lord destroyed the earth before for these strange marriages, what do you think he's going to do when you marry America and you adopt all their beliefs? You know what I'm saying? All their systems of government, all their holidays, all their bad habits when it comes to smoking vape pens and weed, because you told it was from the earth, going into their synagogues and their Muslim mosques and places where they have psychics that'll read your palm. Listen, man, I went and got some chicken from a Chinese food spot the other day. And they do all right. They know how to get a nigga's money, right? Salakia. But to say the least, they always put 2 fortune cookies in that bag. And you know what the fortune cookies ended up at? In the trash can. I didn't even want to taste them. Didn't want to eat them. Because I know what my future holds if I keep these laws, statutes, and commandments. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to play around with the Most High or Christ, you know what I'm saying, by even cracking one open. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's one of those hypothetical things like, well, what if this and what if that? Like, no, you have to have that unwavering faith, that trust in what you were told to do versus what you feel. And this is why we're going into self-discipline tonight, because so many of us lack self-discipline because we were never taught that. We were taught how to be selfishness through the Christian church or someone who is in your family that is a Christian. And it was usually Big Mama's mama or granddad or someone that you came from admired. And this is why we don't have these truths, man. This is why our people die from hypertension. If the Bible in the Leviticus or Deuteronomy says don't eat it, don't eat it. Don't put it in your mouth. You'll talk about a man who ain't got no 700 credit score or a man who drives any type of car, that's below the, I guess, standard in which, expenses exceed, their economic pockets. But you will sit here and talk to somebody who will pick up a roach and put it in their mouth. Like, what kind of sense? What kind of sense does that make? Black man, spec man, Native American Indian. Doesn't make any sense. So we're gonna start off, in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and we're gonna get a bedrock scripture, a milk scripture, all right, about keeping these commandments. And we're gonna go 28 and 15. Then we're gonna talk about how we're destroyed because of our lack of discipline. All right. And so this self-discipline that needs to be had, it's like get you used to it. Okay, Sure. Yeah, sure. Right side first. You can walk on. Sit down so I can search anybody that comes to class. Turn around, put your hand in the wall right there for me, walk shop. All right. How you feeling, brother? I'm glad you can make it. All right. You too well, man. Have a seat right here. And matter of fact, you feel comfortable reading?
Yeah.
Most high Christ. Gotta read it, man. Hey, shout out to young brother Terry, Columbus, Ohio. He tuned in the class. He came through, to do the Lord's work. All right, so we're going into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We're gonna start at verse 1. And so what we're going into tonight is self-discipline. All right. So I'll go ahead and reiterate what we brought up before, and we're going to read both the definitions from Oxford and Merriam. Okay. So self-discipline is a noun. It is the correction or the regulation of oneself for the sake of improvement. All right. So that's the Merriam's Webster definition. When it comes to the Oxfords, it goes a little bit more in depth. All right. So what is your understanding of what self-discipline is, if you don't mind me asking?
My understanding?
Yeah. What do you think self-discipline is?
It's self-control, yes.
Yeah, self-control. There you go. Ain't no wrong answer, brother. You know what I'm saying? Self-control. You're absolutely right. So self-discipline is the ability to control one's feelings and overcome one's weaknesses, right? The ability to pursue what one thinks is right despite temptation to abandon it. So my point for saying that is when it comes to the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American Indians here in Columbus, Ohio, and all over the world, we will abandon the oracles of Christ, right? We will abandon the rules and regulations that our Father, our power, gave us to keep us safe just because of how we feel, right? He didn't put us in this wicked empire to destroy us, more so for us to prove a point. That's why these other nations are erected around us, man. We have a point to prove. You know what I'm saying? Am I worthy? Is she worthy? Are you worthy? Can you listen to the voice of the Lord in that King James Version Bible, man? And it's telling you to keep these laws, statutes, commandments. And when you do, you come into life. All those strongholds, whether it's, sleeping with whores, molesting children, shooting up heroin or smoking dope. You know what I'm saying? Because of how we feel as a people, because of what we go through, we would negate the oracles of Christ. Those very laws, those rules, those regulations that are going to keep us safe. And that's by design, man. These demons have a specific job, and that job is to destroy us. Destroy us. Like Satan told Eve, you won't surely die. And she's thinking, well, if I'm not going to drop dead right here and there, then go ahead. Because what? She wanted to be the one in the limelight. She wanted to have power and control. And that's innately what a lot of us want, man. And so we think that destruction, because it doesn't come, is never going to come. And the Bible talks about the Lord not being mocked, meaning made fun of. If he says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But according to the Christian church, you got free will. You do what you want to do. And we all know that's a lie. Even seeing the destruction of our people around us, man. You know what I'm saying? We still think that, okay, well, what do they say? Let God strike me down right now. How many times you heard somebody say that? Oh, and that's mocking, you know what I'm saying? He ain't got to strike you down. But you will suffer and you will go through it. And the day of the Lord, and his fierce anger, when that sky cracks open, understand, it ain't gonna be no slow singing and, kumbaya holding hands. Now he's coming to cut heads off. So we're gonna get into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. We're gonna start at verse 1. We're gonna talk about the blessings. This is what's gonna happen or will come to pass if we keep the laws.
Chapter 28.
Yep, 28:1, brother.
All right, 28:1.
And if you got any questions, man, just ask your questions.
Okay.
For sure.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
All right, so you stop right there. We're gonna break this thing down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Bible says precept upon precept. This is where you get understanding it. You know, it says, and it shall come to pass, meaning these things will happen, right?
Okay.
If thou shalt hearken, talking to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, you, me, you understand? My mom, my brother, my sisters, right? The brother across the street that's down and out, the sister that's up under that overpass, you know,
Mm-hmm.
struggling, dealing with, you know what I mean, these government, these mountains that they can't move because these strongholds, because they didn't hearken. It says, and it shall come, these things will happen if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So to do something diligently, let's get that definition, because I don't want any type of gray matter or space. So we're gonna put that in the yeah. Go ahead, man. Knock yourself out. Yeah, we gonna get the definition of diligently, man. Diligently, right? To do something diligently. It says characterized by steady, earnest, energetic effort, painstaking. That's the one you want. It says, if thou what? It says, and it shall come to pass, meaning these things shall happen, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Meaning, these things that are written is the voice of the Lord thy God. All scripture is given by the inspiration of the Most High. You understand that? So, when it comes to doing it diligently, meaning steady, meaning you have to have a continual pace, right? Say, hold steady, man. Hold steady, hold steady. Don't break the line. Just hold on. Like, you know what I mean? When you want to clock out for work, just hold on. Hold steady. Just keep working at the pace you at. I don't know if you're going to have overtime. I don't know if you're going to get up out of here. Don't start cleaning up just yet. Earnest. You know what I mean? You know what it means to be earnest. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to, you know, your state of mind and energetic effort or painstaking, something that's painstaking. Like, I'm quite sure after some brothers, you know, get off work, you know, they want to hit that cigarette because they get a boost of nicotine. Take the edge off, man, because of that pain. But instead of doing that, man, you have to go through that painstaking feeling and understanding that the things that are written are true and your feelings aren't. You know, just imagine somebody that you want to depend on for anything, right? They change up on you because of how they feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that even mean? You ever ask to borrow some money from somebody? Like, what you need it for? Like, what difference do you gonna loan it to me or not? Because of how they feel, they wanna judge if you need the money or if it's necessary or not, right? But when it comes to these laws, man, we just supposed to do it. We're supposed to hearken diligently, no matter what we go through, if it's painstaking or not. You know what I'm saying?
So basically, being painstaking, I mean, is for us to suffer for the law.
Oh yeah, we for sure gonna suffer. We for sure are. But by doing this work, you know, you build up your treasures in heaven, which is to come. That's a world without end. This world's coming to an end.
All right, I got another question.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because you said our feelings, right? They'll like it's not real. So basically,
You said what's not real?
like our feeling, what we feel, basically, is not. It's basically not there, basically, because suffering is what we should do, far as like when, like what you were saying, basically, like when we suffer, we have to suffer to be diligent into the word, basically into the truth, basically.
Yeah, so when it comes to the love of God, right? There's no greater love than the love of God. And we have to understand that. And everybody in society in this world, they say, oh, I love God. But I'm gonna make it flat. The Bible says, let every man's word be a lie, the word of God be true. So we're gonna get it to KJV right quick. All right. So we're gonna go to it's 1 John 5:3, I believe. Give me a second. I'm about to try to pull up on my phone. I'm gonna read it. You hold me at Deuteronomy Bible Shah. That just means please. So we're gonna go to 1 John. All right. 5 and 3. You can write this down too. 1 John 5. Okay, yeah, 1 John 5 and 3. And it reads, for this is the love of God. Because everybody claims they love God. Everybody claims that, oh, I love you and you love me and we love each other, YMCA looking, you know what I'm saying? Nah, this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, right? His laws, his statutes, his commandments. What he says that we're supposed to do, being his kid, his children, the lost sheep of Israel, the 12 tribes, right? And it says his commandments are not grievous. So what did Christ do that none of us had to do? Christ was tempted in every way. He took those lashes and he made sure before he went up on that crucifix that his brothers were clean. And that's what you call extreme brotherhood. He made sure that they were good by washing their feet, even knowing who was going to do what. So when it comes to the love of God, people think that love is just this feeling that is orgasmic and just, reminiscent to, flowers and, the good year baby that's butt naked flying around with the heart, Cupid. But love is what Christ did, man. Yeah, he sacrificed his life so that we didn't have to die for our sins. He shed his blood, which was innocent. You know what I'm saying? And when it comes to what we're supposed to do, if Christ did that for us, what makes us think that love is me rolling up that weed and getting high? What makes me think that love is me giving somebody that's my young bull some lean so he can get high? What makes me think that touching a child is love because of how I feel? Nah, that thing that you hate, that I do, that you do. That means I put that weed down. I stopped eating pork chop, crab, and lobster. You know what I'm saying? Some people just say, well, I just had a little bit. Well, now you got hypertension. Now you got cankles. You're getting gout. The Bible, I just read it. It says, for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, right? Those thoughts that you have in your head are demons that are trying to get you to not keep his commandments. Because the demon's job is to destroy you, right? It's to kill you. To kill you. And if it can't kill you, he's going to report something. Listen, I got him to be depressed. He's miserable right now. He's in the gutter. He's drinking every day. He's a drunkard. He's peeing on himself. He's defecating on himself. He's beating women. He's selling drugs. He's doing everything. That's what that demon's job is to do. And this is why it's so important for the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians to learn what it means to have self-discipline. Because despite how I feel, I don't do this because I must do it. I do this because I have to do it. And that's what love is. I learned how not to be selfish by first leaving the Christian church. Getting rid of that doctrine, man. Getting rid of that doctrine. Shedding myself with the world. And that's what you're doing as a brother in all black. And any other brother around the world who picks up his sword and does the work of the Lord, man. That's the first step. Then you enter to your troopership. And you continue. Now you have a name that the Lord knows you by. It's going to call you by. I had to fight demons where I didn't know how to fight my own at first. And so now I'm thinking like, dang.
That's what my question was.
Mm-hmm.
That's what my question was. I mean, as evidently, I know, hell, I ain't know shit. So,
Right.
I'm here. Want to know the truth. So, what I'm asking now is, how do I, pick up and fight, man? How do I, I'm listening, I'm hearing. It's going to, ain't nothing going to be, I guess it's like you said, I'm going to suffer from my own wants. My wants is not important. What I feel and what I want to do is not important. I have to do what I have to do. So I'm going to remember this word right here, diligently.
Diligently. Hey, you're absolutely right. Understand this, man. Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people. I'll go to that right quick. This is Deuteronomy 27:1. And what Moses was to the people was righteous leadership. I never knew righteous leadership until I came to the ISUPK. All I knew was prosperity preaching and some pimp in a pulpit, telling stories, man. They ain't breaking down scriptures like I learned from Commander Junior Hanna, like I learned from General Mahyman, all the other generals, the captains, on down to the officers. I didn't learn that until I came to the ISUPK, And so Deuteronomy 27 chapter verse 1, it speaks about that with Moses. It says, and Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, right? Saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. And this is what I was taught from Commander Junior Hanna, who got it from the seven heads. He kept it, gave it to the generals, who gave it to the captains on down. And now we have it and we give it to the people. And it's something that we must do for one another. That's what you call being a brother.
See, I was never explained. I was always wondering what that meant.
Yeah, and that's what you call righteous leadership. When Christ walked this earth, listen, he was teaching the disciples. He said, go and teach the people, but go not in the way of certain people, right? We were commanded to teach the so-called Blacks, Hispanic, Native American Indians because we're the ones that suffer. Every city, every country, every continent we're poured into, they take from us and they give us nothing. You look at what happened in Ukraine, right? Versus what happened in Haiti. You have a natural catastrophe where earthquake destroyed thousands of homes. They fled from Haiti up to Mexico and tried to get amnesty here in America. President Donald Trump's like, no, chase them down on horses because they needed fresh water. You think about, you leave your house, right? You need certain things. I take medication for my skin. You know what I'm saying? I hate having dry skin. You know what I'm saying? Your stuff's destroyed. You got to leave. Your rib could be on her flower and she might need pad. They had none of that. Shout out to the brothers down there, the mission of Acuna, who took everything that they needed because they were selfless, man. Selfless. They served the Lord. And that's how you serve your brothers. And so they were able to get everything they needed. But meanwhile, the oppressor looked out for the oppressor. Listen, they still sending money to Ukraine to the tune of 50 billion. I didn't say me, I said billion. And then the Red Cross Blue Shield workers go over there just to be called the byword, saying nigger or wetback or spick. Because even in their destruction, they're so proud, man. That's why, I'm going to do this work. Because the Bible says those who led you to captivity should go into captivity. It's going to be a time where they're going to be our nursing kings and queens. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to be under our feet. And that's the way it's going to be from here on out. But when it comes to, self-discipline and just holding true to what is real, these law, statutes, commandments are real. Our feelings aren't. Your feelings are there. You're born with the same feelings, and they tell you to do things that are going to get you destroyed. This is why a parent, a good one, like our father, ever tell you, listen, man, do X, Y, Z. And if you do it, you'll be safe. But these other nations who the Lord never knew, man, listen, they know by getting us to ignore our power, they can have control over us. They'll sell our kids blunt wraps just to put their kids through college and tell their kids not to smoke. But molest our kids, come into the bodega and act like they're our friends. In other words, be as smooth as butter, but war is always in their heart. You understand? But let me get back to Salaki. We're going to get back to this. Where we at? Deuteronomy 28:1? Yeah, 28:1. So we were at, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently to the voice of the Lord thy God, our power, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day. All right. So when you observe to do all his commandments, right, that means you're paying attention to what is being said. You know, you got any kids?
Yeah.
So you ever tell one of your kids to do something, and you just watch them do the wrong thing?
Right.
Like, yeah, I said this way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? We have to observe to do all his commands, what he commands us to do this day. We just can't be oblivious because the game on. We can't be oblivious because, man, she thick. Boy, she got the cakes back there, boy. I don't care what she talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We can't be oblivious because of how we feel. We have to observe to do his commandments, man. It says that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all the nations of the earth. What do you know? When we listen, right, we come into our authority because it was never meant for us to be below these other nations. But because of our disobedience, our blatant disobedience, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what you have in store for your son, your child. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you worked all week and all you could afford is a candy bar, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna speak for myself. I work all week. All I can afford is a candy bar, you know, or I'm able to save money because I've been laid off since like 6 months now, going on 7. But I'm gonna keep doing this work. I know that. But back to the point. All I can afford is a candy bar to give my son. And I come home and he is not doing anything I said do. Matter of fact, he hanging out a window. I'm like, boy, get down for your kid's self. You think I'm gonna give him that candy bar? Heck no. I'm gonna give it to his friend so his friend can eat it. He can watch him eat it. Now you're suffering. You wanted that, but I'm not gonna reward, you know what I'm saying, evil with good.
That's basically what's going on with us now.
Man, listen, all we have to do is what Commander Junior High is teaching us, which he got from both. The Lord's only dealing with one man, and that's Commander Junior High. This is why it's so important. And this is why we always start off with we're the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We use this knowledge practically. And they're not like the theology schools that teach you, you know, stories and word of mouth. But then I tell you this, but don't do what I say. Don't do what I do what I say, right? And they'll tell you the law is done away with. And we're going to get to that too in Matthew, where he says the law is not done away with. Get it out your mind.
Yeah, what chapter is that on? It's long.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so when it comes to this, it says, verse 2.
If I may.
Go ahead.
Because you know how many times I've heard, man, because I need to know that because to show my children that no laws has been changed.
You said no, absolutely not, man.
So what chapter were you on that?
Yeah, we're gonna hit that next.
Okay.
I got you. Give me 2 minutes. So we're gonna finish this off. Verse 2 says, and all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken diligently. Well, it says, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. So when you think about the word hearken, do you know what that means?
So like listen.
Yeah, absolutely. Hearken. It means to listen, you know, to give respectful attention, to bring to mind something in past, to hearken back, to hear. So when you have kids, you tell them to do something, it don't matter if you're there or not. You could be on the way. You expect them to listen to what you told them to do. And if we do that, it says that we shall be blessed. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. I'm making a point to read that because there's nowhere on this earth that we can go that we're not cursed. All right. But we'll go to that right quick in Matthew. All right. So you can go ahead and go to Matthew. I have you read it. And we're going to break it down. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. And if you just tuning in, it's the ISUPK Columbus, and we're going into self-discipline tonight. Why it's important to hearken to these laws, statutes, and commandments, and not your feelings. Those demons in your head that have you cognitively distorted and believing that the psychosis that you're suffering from is reality, and it's not. Reality is the voice of the Lord, and that reality is what keeps us safe. All right. Whenever you got to go ahead and read it, brother. Hold my lip.
Matthew, what chapter?
Matthew chapter 5, verse 17.
Chapter 5, verse 17. All right.
Yeah, you throw this on your head. Matter of fact, I should have this headpiece. I should do that spot. I'll show you this joint right quick. Look clean. Matter of fact, I got you. I'll make sure you're too wild.
All right.
We don't say the prayers after this, so you make sure you know. You can keep this, by the way, brother.
All right. Thank you.
No sweat. No sign of Christ. Yeah, make sure it's straight. Well, preach the prophet, brother. I mean, it's a lot. That's what I'm talking about. All right, so you got it? Matthew chapter 5, verse 17.
Here we go. Chapter 5, verse 17.
All right, so understand this before we get to reading, right? Every Christian in the Christian church says that the Old Testament was done away with.
Right.
Old Testament is where you find the law, statutes, and commandments. That's where you find the priests and the prophets, the givers of the law, you know what I'm saying, the teachers of the law, the Old Testament. Now, what we're reading here is New Testament, right? So go ahead and break that down from Uncle Shaw when you get a chance.
All right. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17. Think not that I am come to destroy the law.
All right, stop right there. So we're going to go precept upon precept. Think not that I have come to destroy the law. So when you hear that word, think not, what comes to mind?
Don't think it.
Don't even put it in your head. You know what I'm saying? You realize this, right? And I always use a father and a child because, like, boy, look at my son. He about to stick some scissors in a socket. Like, boy, you better get the taste out your mouth. Don't even think about doing that. And this is what's being said right here. Keep going.
Okay. Or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill.
So, what you're talking about, Christian church, ain't no I can eat pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Because if it says, think not that I am come to destroy the law, where the law is written in the Old Testament, what do you know? Right?
Right.
And you eat a little bit of pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. All you got to do is pray over it. No, Leviticus says you can't. Deuteronomy says you can't. Understand that. It said, think not that I've come to destroy the law or the prophets. Those prophets were the ones who were given the law, teaching the law. And where they found it? In the Old Testament, right?
Right.
It says, I am not come to destroy, but what?
To fulfill.
To fulfill. So when it comes to the Christian pastor, the church, you know, those naysayers, it might be your mom, might be your dad, might be your cousin, where it says, well, you can smoke a little weed. Nah, you read right here in Matthew, right?
Right.
Go ahead down to 18.
All right. First, verily, I say unto you.
Okay, so verily I say certainly. Like, man, you bet you about $1 on 4 of them graves. For verily, go ahead.
Till heaven and earth pass.
Till heaven and earth pass. You look up in the sky, you still see a sky, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're standing on solid ground. Go ahead.
One jot or one what's that, tittle?
Tittle, yep, tittle.
One tittle.
Not one jot or one tittle. Go ahead.
Shall in no wise pass from the law.
Man, that means that's the smallest iota of the crossing of a T or the dotting of an I. Shall in no wise. I mean, like, in no way, my nigga, is it going to go away or pass. There you go.
Nothing's gonna change.
Till what?
Shall no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled.
To all be fulfilled. All right. That dude is what we're gonna bring it down just a little bit. All right. So you think of yeah. Yo, you too hard, brother. So you think about Amazon, right? They call it their warehouse the fulfillment center. That's where all the orders go and they get sent out. If an order goes there and it doesn't get sent out, it hasn't been fulfilled. The Lord has commanded. The decree has been sent forth. No wise, not one jot, one tittle, heaven and earth. So these things still have to come. The Christian church tell you, well, he already did it. It ain't been done yet, has it? We still standing on solid ground. So
my question is this though.
go ahead.
How did all that come about where everybody in this Christian church telling us this thing? And it's saying it right here.
So you got to realize, right? Let me see. I'll read this. Because we defied our power, okay? And by doing that, just like any good father, if I keep telling you to this and the third, we keep kicking against the pricks, what's going to happen? One day you're going to bump your head, son. And you're going to have to bump your head in order to learn. So we're going to read what happened. All right. So this is what happened when we sin against our power. He scattered us against the four corners of the earth. But we're going to read about how we ended up here, all right? And in the slave markets, where they taught us Christianity. They utilized the oracles of Christ against us. Christianity ain't nothing but white supremacy, because everything that they taught us in the Christian church is to help them be more successful and keep us downtrodden and beat up, you know what I'm saying, up under their feet. Lies. All right, so this is the book, Babylon the Timbuktu. If you want to borrow, I got you. So it says, in the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem, right? We're not from Africa, but we're going to get to that. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state, right, where we were, with great slaughter. It says, during the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. Talking about the so-called Blacks, Hispanic, and American Indians. All right. During the period from Pompey to Julius, right, those captors, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, right, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of Black Jewish slaves. That's how we ended up in Africa. And then we were sold into the transatlantic slave trade, gunpowder on horses, for nothing. And so when you think about us and our nationality and our ways and the things that we know and held and we're supposed to keep true, they try to destroy. They burned the libraries, our temples, they burned everything.
So we don't know shit.
No, when it comes, we own that in which we hold true to, and that's the oracles of Christ. But you can't own something, give it to a nation of people, right, that the Lord doesn't even deal with. And what I mean by that is, you go to church and they'll say, well, anybody can be saved, whosoever. And when they say whosoever in church, they're talking about the white man, the Asian man, the African, people who have never been enslaved. But salvation is deliverance from oppression. And who's oppressing us? All those other nations. So why would we give something that we're supposed to have to them? And that's what we do, so-called Black, Hispanic, and American Indians. This is why we don't even have an identity. We've been reduced to bywords. Oh, that's a nigga. He a thug. He's a spit. He's a wetback. In the Christian church, man, forget about it. They're teaching you by showing you. Every time you look at a stained glass window, shows you that white bastard Caesar Borgia, who is not Christ. The Bible said Christ was an austere. Christ was a Black man, tribe of Judah. He is an austere man. Serious, you know what I'm saying? And when you think about having a role model and the movies that we watch, who's always the hero? The white man. When it comes to the last of the Mohicans, the last samurai, the last anything, there's a white man playing one of us.
How the fuck did they become? They call themselves Jews. And we are Jews.
Yeah, we are the true Jews. But because they're murderers, they're robbers, and they're thieves. So there's a time where they're There's a book called From the Caucasus, and it explains it, right? When they were converting from Judaism to Christianity, and because of the state that we were in, it was like, oh, we're just, and identity theft. So meanwhile, they're saying all these negative things about us, but all they're doing is reflecting. And because what? We love the oppressor, we're homeborn slaves, we have Stockholm syndrome, we accept it. But thanks to Commander Junior Hanna and the ICPK, we learn what our true identity is. How can you be from Africa and America? Those are just the slave owners' names that held us captive. And so now, getting this education and understanding, I'm not African American. Africans eat dookie. They let cows piss on their head. They drink blood, eat rats and rodents. They're disgusting people. Yeah. And I'm not an American because America was built the same way Rome was. The same way, same setup, same beliefs, same traditions. This is why they push homosexuality. Those Romans were homosexuals. And now you see why our people are suffering. The Lord don't deal with them. He says, for Jacob have I known, Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. And so when you think about our forefathers and where we come from, the Lord loves us. He don't deal with them. They can eat what they want. They can do what they want. But when they do it against us, that's a crime. If we're keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
So we have to take up our swords. We have to get back the oracles of Christ and our house on a high hill, which is our advantage. You know what I'm saying? Commander James Hunter said all the time, it's written, lay up your folly ground. All that crap we do, we're not supposed to do, man, stop it. We've been commanded to come out of this world. Because if we keep going on down, we're going to verse 19. Read verse 19. And we're going to stop right there.
Whosoever, therefore,
break just a little bit. Yeah.
Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men, so he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven.
All right, so stop right there, right? When you see that quote, it's going to be a continuation, right? So it says, and teach men to do so. Who does that? The Christian pastor. He'll tell you that, man, listen, sometimes you got to have a little bacon with your eggs in the morning. Wakey, eggs and bacon. The Lord will forgive you 77 times 7. All you got to do is pray over it. Not to lie. The Lord will kill you, whether it's from diabetes or hypertension, which is high blood pressure. If he says don't do it, don't do it. And you just read, it says, whosoever therefore shall break one of the least commandments, right? And shall teach men so, Christian church, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. That's to come, right? So now you start realizing, okay, I don't want to be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Because there's something that you need to do right now. That's obey these laws, statutes, and commandments. That's pull yourself out of this wicked nation, this wicked kingdom. Or else, when this world, which is going to end and be gone forever, the next world without end, you're going to be called the least in that kingdom. Think about when you see a white man out here and he's stinking and just doing bad. Put his hand out, one leg. He's doing the least. He's considered the least in his kingdom. You don't want that to be you and ours. You feel me? So, man, Barakatah Hawaii Hawashai, thanks to the Most High in Christ. Bless them, because you're not a Christian pastor. You know what I'm saying? You have 2 ears, and you had to understand this, and now you're doing what needs to be done so that you can be called great in the kingdom of heaven. And that's showing that faith that you're supposed to have. Faith ain't what the Christian church says by just thinking and feeling and manifested. Faith is that work that you do for the Most High through Christ, man. Coming to class like you're doing right now, writing down precepts, asking your questions, fighting that old man, because one day, you're going to get that oil poured on your head, just like Yahweh HaKayah, just like Quatazar. You know what I'm saying? Just like all the other brothers that came before us. You're going to make an oath of God to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and be a fisherman of men so that our brothers and sisters don't have to die because of that indoctrination, those lies. The word deceiver means liar, right? So the devil means liar, Slakia. So that's what the devil means, deceiver. And a deceiver is a liar. And he's the one who taught us all this bull crap that gets us killed every day. So I'm gonna keep reading. I'm gonna drop this. It says, "But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." And we just went over that. So by you coming into this truth upon the commanded junior high and the ISCPK, you're gonna be called great in the kingdom because you're gonna teach your children. You know what I'm saying? And they're gonna teach their children. And now we're going to be able to benefit as a whole nation by keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, by keeping the Passover, you know what I'm saying, the high holy days and the feast days, by being brothers to brothers, by being brothers to sisters, and vice versa. All right, so we're going to go right back to Deuteronomy, and we're going to see 8:23. All right, yeah, keep going by. So yeah, we're gonna grab the curses real quick. And this is going to make it plain for Deuteronomy 28 and 15. 28 and 15.
Chapter 28, verse 15.
Yeah, verse 15. Well, you got to go ahead and start reading.
It says, "But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken until the voice of the Lord thy God."
Pause. So these things are going to happen when something comes to pass, right? If thou, the so-called blacks, Hispanic, Native American Indians, you and I, will not listen, right, until the voice of the Lord, our power, go ahead.
To observe, to do all his commandments,
Mhm.
and his statutes, which is, what's that?
Which I
command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee.
This say all these blessings or curses?
Curses.
Oh, okay. All these curses
shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
And overtake thee. It didn't say all these blessings will come upon thee and overtake thee. He said, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. But you eating a low seafood crab boil. You know what I'm saying? You sucking all that Old Bay off that crab leg. You know what I'm saying? And what did it say about the one that breaks the least of these commandments? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it says, all these curses will come upon thee and overtake thee, right? Cursed shalt thou be in the city and in the field. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. There's no place you can go that you won't be cursed as so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American Indian. You know, thy basket and thy store, the fruit of thy body, the fruit of the land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. So you look around, every time a Black man gets a business, grand opening, grand closing, he don't make no money. He got to end up doing something illegal out of it. You know what I'm saying? The food that we eat, you know, we grow stuff, you know, working and these Slovakia. We grow food. We ain't gonna be able to take like cotton. You know, we plant that seed and then what do? We pick it. And then they make all the money off of it.
Mm.
We don't get no money, we don't get no cotton. Grow food, get no money, no food. You know what I'm saying? The things that we put our hands to, you know, that, listen, I don't give a damn how well somebody says they're doing. You know, you get a flat tire, let your car break down the way. Then what's going to happen? You offset your whole checkbook. I know we don't balance checkbooks no more, but you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's serious. Let me get a flat tire right now. I'm like, shit. I'm gonna have to call Cap. Like, Cap, we got, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna need some help, G. I need some brotherhood. But like, you got to understand, if we don't keep these laws, statutes, commandments, we're going to be addicts. We're going to be alcoholics. We're going to be child molesters. We're going to do anything that gives us that feeling of justification, right? Because we don't get justice. We're going to do anything that satisfies the lust of our flesh or makes us feel good in that moment. That's why people chase just that euphoria because of what we go through, man. They give us a small amount of money to pay for homes that they own, and then those homes are more than what we make. On top of that, they got child support and all these other factions that goes against us. And then, to say the least, they start cutting those homes in halves with a process called gentrification, where they move us out of those neighborhoods, break them down, build them back up. It costs way more money than what they're able to afford us. And then they fly in all these immigrants. Now we left, stuck in the barrios, in the ghettos. And we so close together. You know how it is when you sit in the car, it's hot. Somebody get an attitude like, you know what I'm saying? Well, Pusha T said, man, I ain't for squishing. Like, I need some space.
Yeah.
And so now we're doing whatever it is to get out the ghetto. Instead of having righteous leadership like we have in the ISUPK, we start to look at Jay-Z. You know, we start to look at Jeezy and T.I. and all these, Kanye. You know what I'm saying? We was even looking to Barack Obama. He's a filthy, stinking Hamite.
He's getting lost as a people.
Man, you know what? Barack Obama didn't help blacks. He made it harder for us. And then he gave the LGBTQ community civil rights, something that our forefathers and mothers marched, got killed, got dogs sicked on them. And you know what they got? Out of nothing. Still ain't got none of them. But an anti-hate bill for Asians to get passed because one white boy goes in there and shoots up a happy ending massage parlor because instead of him having the amount of money he was supposed to have, he came up short. But Salakia, so yeah, we gotta close this out. You got any questions for me, brother? No, I'll give you some more precepts once we leave here, but we gotta get up out of this room in a second. I'm gonna try to go through some of these prayers.
Okay.
But no, if you got any questions, go ahead and ask. I got you.
No. I'm not to.
Oh yeah, I got plenty for you. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and Imagine, which means to stand. All right. And I'm gonna read the announcements first. So these are the security announcements we go over in class. All right. So it says we are the ISUPK started 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister in the school, which would be you. We're gonna have some sisters here soon, brother. So yeah. But it says when a new brother or sister comes to the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. All right. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. You can call me, whatever. After 6 months, if a brother or sister is interested in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. So, man, Lord willing, we're gonna have a bigger room than this. It's gonna be women in here, brothers in here, and you get women and brothers around you, they don't want to marry. So there's a way that we do things at ISUPK. All right. And so it says, there's another 6 months which the brother and sister will court each other. After a 6-month period, brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. So we don't take a woman to be our own and turn our daughter Zion into a whore just by sleeping with her because of how we feel. We go through the protocol because once you go through it, you might find out this sister might need a little bit more help. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for a sister likewise, she's like, I don't know if I can deal with this brother because he's too, imagine whatever. But all right, and so it says tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18 and 21, Malachi 3, 8 through 10, which means a tenth in the Hebrew, my Asher. So 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the school, or the teacher, the priest fund, right? So we pay our tithes to the school. All right, so 10% of any of my increase. I don't care if it's $20, I get $2 to the school. If it's $10, I get $1. You know what I'm saying? But we give it to the school, and Commander Junior Hunter, that he's not a TD Jakes or a Theft Joe Dollars.
Yeah.
He ain't riding around no private plane or private jet. He builds up this nation. He's been doing it since 1969. All right, so priest fund, free will offering, which is not mandatory, whatsoever you like. Upcoming holy convocation, and I believe that's going to be Feast of First Fruits. And I'm gonna get with you about that after class. and that's going to be let me see, Feast of First Fruits. Fruits. Yeah, it's going to be it's coming up next month, so like it. So I'm gonna get a date for that. Akim, Aquathium. We got any questions? Ask teacher. You know what I'm saying. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black boots, shirt, pants. You know, you took care of that. You know, anybody that's interested in what you know, same thing for them. All right. So we're gonna go through the Lord's Prayer. I don't think I have that much time. So what Punny Hakwadam means to turn to the east. I'm about to see which way the east is. Okay, so east is there. Yeah. All right, and we're gonna go through these prayers. We're gonna go through the Lord's Prayer. All right. So just repeat after me, all right, brother. All right. So we're gonna read it first in the Hebrew. Okay. Okay. Well, this is the Lord's Prayer. It's found in Matthew 6:8-13. So it's Abanah. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Hayah. Shemka. Yahweh. Malakaka. Taba'ah. Ratazak. Hayah. Asha. Baratazak. Kawa. Hayah. Bashamai. Lathan. Lanaw. Akam. Ka. Yawam. Wasalak Lanaw. Kabawafi now. Kasalak now. Kabawafi now. Olah. Tabaya now. Taba'aya now. Manasayawan. Abal. Hawashaya now. Mayan. Ra. Kaya. Laka. Hamalakwa. Waha Allah. Waha Tha Pa'ara. Yep. La'awalamya. Aman. So what we said in the Hebrew, I'm going to translate it into English, all right? Okay. So, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth. As it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. And forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation. But deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom. For thine is the kingdom. And the power. And the glory. Forever. So be it. All right. So stop it right there. So with that, SAR means to turn. Give one courtesy salute to the teacher. So it's Amaja. Shabbat. Barak. Yahweh. Bashir. Yahushua. Barakatah. Yahutzah. Class. Good job, brother. For sure. I'm about to kill this broadcast. Give me 2 seconds. You did a 12 job, man. Thwada for reading for me, too. Yeah, whenever you have questions, man, don't be scared to ask questions. Just for future references, whenever you have a question, lay your hand up first and then get addressed. And then ask your question once the teacher, addresses you. You feel me? But you did a 12 job, though.
Yeah, man. I wanted to come out. It's the first step.
Man, Most High in Christ. Heck yeah.
It's the first step, brother. Yeah, I should be better than what I've been doing.
Most High in Christ, bro. I've been there. Still there. Still got to keep doing this Lord's work. Man, hold on, Salaki. I ain't killed the feet yet. I don't know why he's doing that. Man, they don't be playing nowhere. That's why we're going to get a school here soon. Damn broadcast. Why is it doing that? You Tawab, you good on gas, brother? You need help or anything?
No, I'm cool today, bro. I appreciate the help, though.
Man, no sweat.
Yeah, I'm cool today, man. Yeah, I put a couple dollars aside for this.
Man, most time Christ.
Yeah, so I'm trying to make